Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Nancy Newton, and I am a marketing program manager here with TCP Software. I often work with coordinating webinars, is one of the things I do. I'm joined today by Kelsey McCarty, who's going to be presenting to you today. Kelsey is a solutions consultant, and she's somebody that you would work with if you were actually demoing the system. So she knows these products really, really well. Today's webinar, as you know, is going to be an introduction to Aladtec Scheduling, kind of giving an idea of what it all entails. Before we dive right in, though, I did want to just give you a little bit of information about TCP software. TCP has been around for 35 years, and we specialize in providing time and attendance and scheduling solutions that will basically simplify your daily processes. It can help you control labor costs and streamline your employee scheduling processes as well. So in addition to Aladtec, we do also have other solutions like TimeFlex Plus, Humanity, Schedule Anywhere, and InstaSub. So you may have heard of some of those. So to get started today, as we mentioned, we're focusing on Aladtec scheduling. And just so you know that Aladtec was actually created specifically for public safety agencies, really to meet those unique demands of 24/7 shift coverage. So this webinar is being recorded, and you will also receive a copy of the webinar recording via email. If you have any questions during today's webinar, please feel free to put them in the Q&A panel that's on your screen, and we'll get those answered for you. So with that, Kelsey, I will turn it over to you.
Thanks, Nancy. Great to have everybody here this morning. Thanks so much for taking time out of your busy days. We know how important it is and the jobs that you all do day in and day out, so we appreciate you taking that time. As I go through this presentation today, we'll give you that 10,000-foot view of the Aladtec product, and we will look at some of the features and functionalities and things like that to give you a general idea of what's out there and what some of the possibilities are pertaining to the product. So to start off, just to give you guys that similar high-level overview of Aladtec, you may have known us or heard of us in the past as maybe EMS manager or fire manager. We've been around working with public safety for over 20 years. So we currently have over 2,500 customers in the United States and Canada, with over 150,000 people logging into Aladtec every single day. And we've scheduled over 1 billion hours for our public safety customers. So you folks are our bread and butter, whether that be fire and rescue, law enforcement, EMS, or communications agencies. That is all we do, and that's what we want to be the best at. So when it comes to folks coming to Aladtec, there's typically some buckets of common asks or common goals that we're hearing from folks. And some of these may resonate with you individually, with the needs of your agency at the moment. So whether that's some mechanism to improve efficiency, or we're trying to reduce errors, or we're trying to do things like increase access or visibility to the schedule or maybe data on employees, or if we're trying to improve communication, or perhaps this is a retention need for you. As our workforce gets a little bit younger, there's that advancing demand to have technology at your fingertips. So Aladtec's going to provide options to assist in all of these, and we will obviously be more than happy to have conversations with individual groups and take you through things like a tailored demonstration process, so we can get down to the nitty-gritty for your individual agency and really show you how that ties back to your own agency and your own people. So Aladtec has a number of options out there. This is a somewhat mix and match option. We do offer tiers with different functionalities depending upon needs. So we really allow you to pick the tier and package that works best for you and the demands and needs for your own agency. But whether that's things like cloud-based scheduling with mobile access and some functionality around basic scheduling, or maybe your needs branch out a little bit further. Maybe you're looking for things like some complex pattern-based scheduling. Maybe you want to have some tools for communications, whether that's things like coverage alerts and paging. Maybe you want to have some read receipt messaging. There's also going to be options for things like certification and license tracking, notifications on those sorts of things, and a digital forms tool built into the system. So whether you're, let's say, an EMS agency and you're doing something like drug checklists, maybe you're a fire department and you need to go through and do rig checks or maybe, hose inspections. Any of those things that live in a paper process could potentially become a living, breathing portion of the system. Along with the Aladtec functionality, which is very robust, it's key to note that this product is hosted on Amazon Web Service, and we do maintain Canadian servers. So our folks in the northern border, if you do need to have data housed in your country, we do keep servers available up there. And we do provide 24/7 support. So truly unique to the Aladtec and TCP software way of doing things. You'll always have access to an employee of ours 24/7 to get help whenever you need that. And that's not a ticketing process. That's not a buy hours to call in and talk to us. Whenever you need help, that's available to you. So let's dive in and see what this actually looks like. We're going to go through a kind of a high level, but we'll just give you a little opportunity to put your eyes on the system and see what that's all about. So each Aladtec system is completely configurable. I'll show you a couple of different options so we can see some different layouts for different public safety agencies. But everything is going to be geared to have all of your data, everything that's important to you front and center as you come into the system. So items like to-dos for requests from your employees. Maybe you have some certification data on your staff that's expiring. We're going to put all that stuff right in front of you with notification options so that you're always in the know about what's going on with your staff. When it comes to scheduling, you're going to be provided flexible options for viewing your schedule. We're looking at a law enforcement mock-up here for maybe, some shift-based work, maybe a small dispatch tied to a law enforcement agency. But you'll have options for things like monthly calendar viewing, or even things like daily viewing or weekly viewing. Or maybe you want to look at your 2-week biweekly pay period. You'll always have options, and most pages in the Aladtec system are going to give you full filtering and custom filter saving functionality. So if you only want to see a portion or subset of your schedules, you've got the option to do that. If you want to do things like see only the open shifts for your agency, you can do those things. You can save filters. You can go back to these things without recreating the wheel with total flexibility. There's going to be options for things like pattern-based scheduling in the system. So if we do have some complex rotations, like maybe a Pitman or a 24/48 or a 48/96, or maybe we're getting into like modified California rotations, the system is really adept at being able to manage complex rotations and allow you to build those patterns out for up to 2 years at a time. So your base schedule can be populated with only the need to shift things for day-to-day management. So whether that's filling gaps that are open, or maybe in situations where we've had holdovers or extra time, we're going to do things like approve requests and add hours to our schedule. All of this is going to be easy and centralized from any of these calendar views. We'll even do things like flag you for violations of minimum staffing. Maybe you have to have 3 telecommunicators on all day long. The system will tell you exactly where you're short if you drop below that limit and give you that warning. Maybe for our friends in law enforcement, you need to take it a step further. You got to have 3 people, but you got to have a female officer on in a specific schedule. You can not only guarantee quantity of people, but you can add qualifiers to that also to make sure you get the right quantity and the right type of employees on your schedule. And one of the truly beautiful items that's in here is the ability to make changes to your day-to-day. So we hear from a lot of customers that maybe some other options have some pattern-based scheduling, but if you have to break that pattern or do something different, it can become cumbersome to make changes to your schedule. The beauty with Aladtec is all of this is editable through an easy spatial layout. So if you want to do things like adjust shift times or maybe populate different people to schedules, we're going to have qualifications running in the background. We're going to enable rules and processes to make sure you're maybe not violating fatigue limits. You're not placing people in schedules or positions they're not qualified for. But ultimately, the whole thing is drag and drop. So if you need to adjust shifts or move people between schedules, you'll have the opportunity to do that however you need to, whenever you need to, with that background logic working to help you along the way. Now, we do integrate paging and communication tools into the system. Anywhere we do see something like this send coverage alert envelope on any of the schedule views or in the mobile view as well, you're going to have the ability to communicate with your staff members and request coverage for shifts. So if we were to go in and do something like send a page out for the officer spot that we need to fill for 6 to 1400, the system already knows who's qualified and available, and you can mass message this request out to have your staff go in and save their preferences and sign up for shifts. We can even take this a step further, and if you're someone or an agency that has to use rotational overtime, we can build in logics to offer these out to your staff one at a time in a sorted order so that they get the appropriate opportunity to pick up a shift based on that sorted criteria. Now, all the schedule basics are fairly straightforward. You're also going to have ancillary features in here as well. So you will have configurable access to define an employee profile, and you can custom create any information that you would like to have housed on your staff. This becomes a fluid database for you. So all of that information, as we're looking at our fake employees here, is going to centralize into a spot where you can view information or look at subsets of data. And this all becomes exportable data points for you. You'll even have options for mass messaging. So if we need to mass message or group message someone, you can actually go ahead and send messages out of your member database from the full site or our mobile optimized view. We do have a very robust forms tool inside the system as well, which is my favorite portion of the system. We do have a library of over 200 different pre-built forms that actually came from other agencies like your own. So our customers partnered with us and provided us some forms that we made available for general use. These are all customizable, and you have the ability to create your own from scratch using a simple drag and drop functionality. But whether it's something like a vehicle checklist or maybe some kind of incident log, maybe you're trying to record some information about requests for community events, there's going to be a wealth of items that can be taken from paper worlds and brought into the Aladtec system. And these actually are able to be filled out in the system and in mobile. So if you've got folks maybe in an apparatus out in the field, they can take care of these things 24/7 whenever they need to. And as they get submitted, every single one of these becomes a data point that you have access to. So collection of data is awesome. It's infinitely better when you have access to that data. So with every single form in Aladtec, you will get corresponding reports to get at every single data point for the entire archived history of the use of the form that you can pull out of the system in a CSV format. We'll obviously provide some additional reporting options for things like scheduled hours. If we want to do things like pull codes off of hours, how many overtime hours have I had due to, let's say, holdover? You're going to have access to all of those, as well as things like individual member reports where we can see that high level of everything relevant to a specific individual. And my IT folks out there really love the system log inside of Aladtec. So this platform collects data on everything that happens with a date and time stamp and specific details. So at any point, if we need to go back and look at an action, see who did what, when it was done, who it impacted. Everything is back traceable and there's full transparency to the functions in the system. Now we do have options for things like storage. So if we do want to have things like policies, SOPs, training documents, things like that, that might be helpful. You do have the ability to have those uploaded and placed into the system for access from a centralized spot, as well as some other discussions, forums where we can have, we kind of joke that this is the public safety Aladtec Reddit, where you can post topics for your employees and you can have conversations with those folks. And there are options for things like required messaging with read receipts. So as you send out a message and an employee acknowledges that message, you're going to have a date and timestamp for accountability. But the one call out that I do like to give to folks is the truly monumental amount of effort that we put into support and making sure that you have information at your fingertips. Here at Aladtec, we record videos and give you options to view information on anything you could ever want to do in this system. So much like these webinars today, you'll have video access throughout the system and in the help section on anything you could ever want to do, but you'll always have that 24/7 support. So if you want to hop in chat and you want to reach out to one of our Aladtec employees to ask a question, it is always here and always accessible to you. Now, just to give you a brief idea of what this looks like for some of the other systems that are out here, if we were talking about something like maybe a fire department, or excuse me, an EMS service, you could be looking at schedules that are structured around maybe apparatus. It could be a station. Obviously our positions and things will be different. If we were talking about things like a communication center, we could have schedules, and looking at our daily view here, for TCOs. Maybe you need to have spots for consoles or specific assignments throughout the day. And if we're talking about our friends in fire, the same logic applies. We can have schedules for things like apparatus and seat assignment. This could be schedules by station. And as I mentioned before, that rotational pattern-based scheduling is going to be able to put all your folks on those repeating patterns, so your only adjustments become those day-to-day items. Now, this is totally fluid, as I mentioned, so you will have complete ability to adjust scheduling names, position titles, develop the structure of what you want your schedule to look like, how you want those things to function. And we make sure that you're not gatekept from being able to make adjustments and changes to your system whenever you need to. So whether that's going through and defining things like access levels that are going to control what people do and edit throughout the system, maybe it's applying things like work groups and controlling what people can do in the system, what items or rules need to go with those things, or even putting in limitations so that the system can flag or prevent you from scheduling people in excess of a work limit. There's going to be an unlimited number of customizations that we can make to adjust the settings here in the system to help you accomplish your end goals. And we make sure that all of this is accessible and easy for you as an end user to be able to make adjustments so the system can grow and change with you. Now, I do like to call out that we do have a number of integrations available with the system as well. So beyond the use of that cloud-based platform, we do offer API or open API. So other systems can query and pull data from Aladtec whenever we need to. And if you visit the features and integrations section on the website, you will actually be able to go in and pull our API documentation. It's public, so if you want to take a look at that, that is out there. But we also maintain integrations with several partners, and this is an ever-growing list. So whether it's something like incident reporting, or maybe personnel management, maybe it's something like first arriving dashboards, there's going to be several different programs that we have existing connections to where your Aladtec schedule data can flow to these platforms automatically and save you some things like dual entry or redundancy with having to put staff in two different places on a regular basis. These are also accessible from this public site. So if you do want to check any of these out, this will go through and give you a little breakdown of what the integration does. It can launch you over to the other website as well. The last thing I want to note here for folks is that there are a ton of resources available on the website. So if you do want to dig into some specific ways that this is actually geared to help folks, or maybe you want to look at some specific examples of how Aladtec has helped other agencies, there's actually breakdowns on the website with customer testimonials. So you'll have the opportunity to see, for example, what law enforcement is saying about Aladtec and what some of our customers have provided as actual feedback. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we do offer tailored demonstrations. So you'd have the opportunity to work alongside someone like myself and one of our account executives. In that process, we actually sit down with you and learn about you. So that process is all about you. We want to learn about what's going on at your agency, what's going on and driving that need for change, so that we really provide a solution for you, proving that we understand where you're coming from. So if you want to have the opportunity to have a conversation like that and go through a tailored demonstration specific to your agency, we'd love to have the opportunity to do that. We do have the option to go through the website. You can also call into our support line as well to request to work with someone to experience what one of those tailored demonstrations feels like. Are there any questions, Nancy? Anything outstanding out there?
You know, I was able to answer those myself, so I think we're sitting okay.
All right, wonderful.
Okay. Well, thanks, Kelsey. I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody joining us today. If you have any questions, or as Kelsey mentioned, if you wanted to take a look at demoing the system yourself, you can go out to our website, aladtec.tcpsoftware.com. And thanks again, everybody. We really do appreciate your time today, and have a great rest of your day.